Well, my apologies. I was putting on makeup for you, my love, for you. And I just couldn't decide what colors to use. So, yes, and then I spent too much time in the shower. You know how it goes. Anyway, how is everyone? I am in baby blue and dusty rose, both on the eyes. And let's face facts. It's comfy to wear t-shirts. How's everybody doing? Whoops. Okay, got it. I had to unmute that. Again, my apologies. I'm running a little bit late. How are you all? How is everyone? It looks like we've got 60 people. Okay, I was only making a few people wait. Well, you'll all catch up eventually. We've got plenty to talk about. Things are going crazy in the world. As you know, we had a. Now, why is my visuals kind of crappy? Let's see if we can get better visuals. If I can close a couple things, if that would help. I don't think it will, though. Let's see. Anything to get the visuals better. I think we'll be okay. That's all right. Yes, so crazy things going on in Russia. As many of you know, they were attacked by a group. ISIS is taking responsibility for the attack that's killed, at this point, over 100 people. Also, Ukraine, pro-Ukrainian forces, some of which unfortunately are white supremacist based, are attacking and entering into Russia. What's interesting is that when you go into the remote, and the meditations we've done in the past, is that the areas like Belgorod, based on the information we were able to receive as remote viewers, these villages, they were getting poor young people to have their grandparents and parents sign them to enter the military sooner. And in extremely poor areas, we found out that people were facing enlistment as early as 16. We also were able to find out through remote viewing that much of the civil unrest is being independent. People are doing it independently, attempting to sabotage at the high school level, because many young people fear that the people they love and care about, including themselves, could be facing their own death when they graduate in June or whatever, and have to go and enlist. And so for that reason, what we were able to see through the eyes of those people as remote viewers is that many young people were self-motivated to engage in civil disobedience, rather than it necessarily being something organized. And I thought that that was a really interesting perception into life in Russia right now. And it goes back to the remotes we've discussed, where it's going to be hard to nearly impossible for Russia, at this speed with which it's going bankrupt and the speed with which the rebellions are happening, to be able to maintain the war, particularly now that NATO is becoming stronger than ever, and more and more countries are joining NATO, Sweden and Finland, and now Ukraine is eligible. And for all of those reasons, if you go and follow the energy long term, along with the sanctions, the frozen Putin banks, etc., unless things change dramatically, I do not agree with the assessment that Russia will win the war. I think that Russia will lose the war, simply because they do not have the financial wherewithal to maintain it. And their allies don't have the financial wherewithal to continue to help them maintain it. If you're looking at the economy of China, we've talked about that. It's collapsing. North Korea has always been one of the most impoverished, if not the most impoverished country in Asia. It's really only up to Iran. So you have Iran and Russia working together to kind of hold on to their oil reserves, their trade, etc., funding these proxy armies. But even that looks like it's no match for NATO and Western trade routes, particularly with the Abraham Accords. It simply does not look like a winning strategy. All right, so let's go ahead. We'll say hi to everybody. Make sure and like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet. Also, think about being a member of the channel. Remember that memberships pay for everything. Upkeep, new lighting that we just got, paying the monthly fee for Restream, and of course, paying Chuck Dransfield. He is we actually pay him as an actor. All of those things cost money. Teaching HCRV, the time it goes into creating manuals education. So if you do become a member, understand that Chuck and I are so grateful to all of you. It helps keep our doors open so that we continue to learn and develop, both as entertainers for you, but also as healthcare providers, which is our second job. Okay, the second thing I wanted to mention is, wow, we have an amazing book club. I don't know if all of you know that. I hope you will consider joining our book club. We get together, Chuck and I love books, and we've had very intense conversations about books and art. Chuck, of course, is a huge fan of films as well. And our book club really celebrates independent writers that come to our channel and check us out. And so if you are an independent writer and you're trying to be recognized and you would like to be a guest at Taco Tuesdays, we get together at the last Tuesday of the month and we interview up-and-coming writers, new writers. Be sure and send us your manuscript if you would like us to select your book for Taco Tuesdays. So in order to be selected, you would write Dr. Whimsy Anderson, P.O. Box, it's 1819 Southwest Jefferson. No, wait, hold on. It's 1819 Fifth Avenue. I keep messing this up? Okay, 1819 Southwest 5th Avenue, Portland, Oregon, 97201. And that's Suite 116, excuse me, for whatever. I have a couple different addresses. So yeah, so it's, I think Debbie, if she's here, she'll go ahead and put that up. Thank you. Debbie Brady, amazing woman. She heads our fan pages over at Facebook. Remember that if you join our Facebooks, Debbie does a random drawing once a month, and then you are granted a free tarot reading with me. So it's definitely worth it. Also, Debbie puts out some really fun, publishes some cool stuff, and keeps you up to date with the cool stuff going on with Chuck over at his channel of Captivating Chronicles. Also give a warm shout out to the all-powerful Joel Tilson. He is our official floor director. He's also written a really cool book about the Tilson family genealogy. He's a heck of a genealogist, an amazing cook, coming to us from the beautiful town of Cheyenne, Wyoming. Always love to hear what he's cooking because he's always cooking something really great. In addition to being overseeing our fan pages, Debbie Brady is a talent scout and talent manager. She looks for talent that is up and coming on YouTube and develops them. I believe for a low monthly fee, you may be eligible to join with her. And is that all that Debbie? Oh, and yes, she's also a creative director. Boy, I don't know how. Do you sleep, Debbie? I don't know. Also, we have the amazing K Travel Tarot. Check out her website, close friend of mine, and I send her love. Hi, Rush. Thank you for being a member. Kitty Connell is in the house. Chris Crowdis, George Urgo, Yolanda Aranda, thank you for being here and a member. Sarah Roberts, Donald Lampert, Joanna Carson, Chris Crowdis, we said hi to, I believe. Roberta Anderson, hello. Storm's coming in Minnesota. Oh, my goodness. We'll keep saying hi to everybody as we go again. I want to also mention that our Book of the Month Club selection this month was written by Leslie Cain. You can get it on Amazon. It's an amazing read. It's called Victims and Survivors. Let me go ahead and make sure you guys can see this. dawns on me, you might, let's see, what are we doing here? The video, there we go. Let's try this. There we go. See, is that not magic? I am magic. Okay. The Oracle of Whimsy is magic, my love. All right. Victors, victims and survivors journey from dysfunction junction. Journey from dysfunction junction to function. She should say to function. From dysfunction to function junction. Anyway, victims and survivors journey from a dysfunction to junction. Surviving is a skill. You don't have to stay a victim. Do you feel like your life is a train wreck? Is the Pope Catholic? Is the conductor of that runaway train you? Of course. A family, friend, member, or friend. Well, I think chaos is co-created myself. Anyway, this book is great. And if you want to get into a really intense discussion with us on Tuesday at 6 p.m., the 27th, please be sure and join us on Taco Tuesday. I think you're going to love the book. All right, let's talk about the remote views. The latest is coming out. We pray for the wonderful Catherine, Princess Catherine. But I don't believe anything I'm seeing. Now it's okay. So we know that God, I can't handle this. Okay. This is one of those things where the remote viewer needs therapy. Okay. Who here is a professional empath or grew up as an empath and you found out all kinds of family secrets or all kinds of things about people that you weren't supposed to know? And so you grew up being told you were crazy because you knew too much stuff. Okay. That's psychopathy, that's narcissism, right? It's when you start telling somebody something, it's the gaslighting, right? It's when the person knows that something's going on with the gas lamps, and then you keep telling them it isn't, right? When you're the one creating it. So we have a situation with Princess Catherine where first they released a fake photo of her with Carol Middleton. And then we looked at it and we said, that doesn't look like Kate. Also, the car had 5 wheels. So we just pointed out the obvious. And then we got attacked and insulted and told that we were attacking them and that we were mean and evil. So remote viewers went in and said, what the heck's going on? And we found some disturbing things about William. Not so much Kate, by the way. People refer to her laughing at the church service, but that's kind of interesting because I took history in college. I'll tell you a little bit about the Anglican Church and Princess Catherine and what happened at the wedding. Not that it was right to laugh at the preacher, but I'll tell you a little bit something about Anglican culture, the Anglican Church. So when I was taking American history, I had an amazing professor, and he said that one of the things that they taught to be dignified and to be a royal was to never show emotion. So part of the culture of Anglican Church is that you would read the Bible, but you would do it without any, you must do it without any perceived emotion because this is the tradition of the British stiff upper lip. So it is a joke that the British make of themselves just how horrendous this policy is. And the teacher of the class was Anglican, and what he loved to do was imitate the people who raised him in the church. And he would drone on like the Archbishop, and we would laugh hysterically to the point where we were crying. But this was his imitation of growing up in Mass as an Anglican. You will burn in hell forever, and there will be weeping and wailing and gnashing of teeth. Burn in hell forever and ever, and there is no hope, only by God's grace. And they would laugh hysterically as children. And so those buttons are also being pushed when a bunch of Anglican kids that had to grow up making fun of that see a Black preacher letting loose. And it's funny. It's funny. Doesn't make it right that they laughed, but the contrast, particularly if you know how to laugh at your own traditions as an Anglican, and the Anglicans very much do, trust me. That is a greater understanding of what the laughter was about. Not that it was right. I'm not saying what they did was right. I'm saying let's see it within its entire context. They were also laughing at themselves. Okay? So what I always feel when I go into Catherine's energy and growing in like, oh my God, it's so true. We're so uptight about our emotions. And then it's like the contrast was, oh my God, the Anglicans and the Americans versus the British. And also great respect for the Americans because they can talk about their emotions, which is something very important to Catherine, right? But I found that when I went into the energy, first off, that she was a remarkable woman. I've always spoken well of her. But that this marriage was over, and many people were bothered that I had felt that this was that the partnership, and that she had suffered tremendous depression, and maybe she had gone through a period of maybe not taking the best care of herself. So now they're saying she's not coming out for Easter, and now because the backdrop was a green screen. It didn't move. So we know that the only thing that was real in the AI was determined to be the bench. The bench was real, but she was not sitting on the bench. She was sitting somewhere else. And even her body could have been AI generated. Sometimes she was wearing the ring. So they seem to have AI generated putting the ring on. And then when they cut it, sometimes they've forgotten and they would have to add it back on. So the ring appears to be AI generated on to the finger. More than likely what happened was she made the statement from her own home on a couch or something like that. So she didn't have to leave her home, which makes sense if you're not feeling well. And then they added a backdrop and the bench. I think that's what happened. So the statement is real. She's real, but they just put a nice, if you're sick on your couch and you're really not, and you're undergoing chemo, what do? Maybe you put on a nice shirt. I think that was real. And you give the speech, and then they take your speech from inside the comfort of your home. You're sick, and then they put a green screen behind it to make it nice. That's what I think happened. But that doesn't mean she isn't sick and she isn't telling the truth. Yeah, so I think it's real. I think it was shot from her home. When I went into the energy, I kept telling people, I'm sick. So I felt like I didn't want to leave my home. I felt like I shot it from my own home, and then they digitally put a background on it. I'm sure Debbie can explain it better than anybody, but so she probably did it like that. She could have put there are also green screens that you'll pop right behind a chair. You just stick it behind your chair and then you talk, and then they put the bench and everything onto it so that she didn't have to leave her home. And I think that's probably what happened. Remember, before we got the release, because I just let people go back and look at videos, and then if I screw up, I try to be as precise as possible so that if I do screw up, I have to humbly go back and say, how did I screw up? How did I screw up? Why did I screw up? But I always feel that the partner is separated, and I feel that William is responsible for a lot of the tension, and I feel that William will reach out to Harry to try and get bailed out, quite frankly, because per the craziness, the firm can't take it anymore. So he was trying to protect his family, but it's just become the Hatfields and McCoys. So that is why I think William will try and smooth things out. Also, his wife is sick of it. So he's losing her. They're separated. He's using his emblem now. So I feel like the remote's kind of confirmed a lot of that kind of separate energy. Why wasn't he there with her? All of that. So their refusal to acknowledge, they hired a 20-something-year-old look-alike model, clearly with dance training, by the way, ballet training, which is how people could tell it wasn't Kate Middleton at the farm shop, because ballerinas are always bouncing. They're always floating around, trying to be as light as a feather, right? When we dance, I'm a light as a feather. Remember doing that when you were in ballet? That's not the way Kate walks. Kate walks like a soldier. Boom, boom, very heavy-footed. Right? So, which is precisely how you would walk if you didn't have dance training. If you weren't trained in ballet, you would not have a light walk. That light walk is dance training. Well, we walk like our energy is up here, right? Those of us who have had ballet training, right? Particularly if you're a leaper, you're always trying to go up here with your energy. Who here studied ballet, right? We're not down here in the ground. We're trying to fly, right? We're flying. So a lot of people just saw the fake Kate and said, "Oh, she's a dancer. I can see. I mean, she's a ballerina. You can see it." And her energy was up here, which is a little sprightly. Ballerinas are sprightly. Kate is not sprightly. She has those big feet that her feet like she would do well with soldier's boots. Boom. That's Kate. Not a soft foot. Yeah, always the toe. Yeah. Little things that people who study dance noticed about the fake Kate. If you've studied ballet, you can't miss it. And because I'm very aware that Kate does not have dance training, because I studied ballet for so long, it's like, whoa, she is so heavy-footed. All right, let's go ahead. We'll do the Empath prayer, and then we'll do a collective reading. The abdominal surgery, it's her private business, so we don't know what the medical issues are. And we always ask permission from spirit, so that's not really. Oh, Linda Grindell mentioned me. How sweet of her. She's a nice woman. Be sure and thank her for me. Okay, I think we're going to do the collective reading. And so we're going to do the Empath prayer first. Good to see everyone. Our charity this month is we're building a forest. Yes, unfortunately, we're headed back to fire season. And so as is our way in spring, we start raising funds to build a forest. If you would like to help me build a forest, remember for every dollar you donate to AmericanForest.org, one tree sapling will be planted in an area that has been devastated by wildfires. All right, let's do the Empath prayer. Okay. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together, collectively, we say, Amen. Well, happy spring, everyone. Happy spring. You know, today is Purim, and Purim is considered the happiest day of the year in the calendar. So, if you study Judaism or Kabbalah, Jewish mysticism, this idea that time is a circle and we go round and round and round back to that energy every year. And then we have a new karmic experience every time we go back to that energy, right? So, today is the day of joy. And every time we go into the vibration of joy, we kind of have to ask ourselves a couple questions like, how can we be more joyful now than we were before? How can we give more joy than we gave before? Another idea that's mentioned in Purim is this idea that God is hidden, or that the divine is hidden, and that we see the divine in the mask. So all of us can be messengers and guides to one another, emissaries of the divine. Traditionally on Purim, we give candy and sweets, but we never give it directly. We ask a friend to deliver the sweets to the person so that our goodness is hidden, just like God's goodness. And so that's the tradition. So you show up and I mean, you get a knock on the door and you've got this basket of cookies and candies and all kinds of things. And you say, thank you. Who's this from? And the person says, it's from Jane. Oh, before you go to the person who's the delivery person, could you take this basket back to Jane? And then it's usually their kid. Their kid knocks on the door and here's some cookies from my mom, right? And they go, oh, well, here's a basket of cookies for you and your mom, right? And this is a nice tradition we have on Purim. But the idea is do something beautiful for yourself, but do something beautiful for someone else, and maybe have it be a little bit hidden, be someone's secret Purim, someone's secret Mordecai, someone's secret Esther. You have a secret Santa, but on Purim, you have a secret Esther and a secret Mordecai, right? Nice person goes and does something nice for you. Yeah. Spread the goodness on Purim and look for the hidden mysticism around you. So the energy of Purim is the energy of defeating darkness. It's the story of Haman, who was a wicked man that was going to commit this evil genocide against the Jews of Persia. And Queen Esther, who was married to King Ahasuerus, begged him to help. And he gave Mordecai permission they had an army that fought the evil Haman and his sons. And then the people that were bad were hung, and the evil was averted. So the other spiritual aspect of this day is that we avert evil, that we see the signs, and, preventative medicine, right, is another way we could look at Purim. To see malevolence before it's acted on might be another way we could interpret that. All right, the base of the matter. Many of you could be traveling. Perhaps it's a time of spring break. For many of you, I know I had to take a few days off, as you know, because I did my taxes. But we'll be back from spring break next week, actually. Base of the matter is Knight of Wands, and that can be travel. Some of you could be going on vacation. You're getting a little bit more into the energy of the heat. Also, King of Wands is an entrepreneur. So many of you could be starting new ideas, new projects this time of year. Many of you have good blessings coming your way. A nice star is headed your way. Good blessings to you. And also, your wish has been granted. Remember, remove the obstacles to your vision. Respect your vision. Start small. And then as your vision grows, you'll invest more and more. And your love and obsession to your vision and your faith in your vision will grow. my vision is that I'm a naturopathic doctor, right? I never met an herb I didn't like. So I was studying Chinese herbs last night in my bed. Poria, which is a type of fungus that's extremely good for hot flashes. Well, of course I have to have it. There were, then I got some horsetail for hair to be able to make teas that strengthen a woman's hair, like hair. It makes your hair shiny so you won't break. So the point is that I was doing a lot of work with women's beauty herbs and healing women and stuff like that. But when you find your bliss and then you start to develop your bliss and you respect your bliss, shalom to you and happy Purim. Then it becomes like a fire in you. That's also an aspect of the King of Wands, because King of Wands is fire, that you should know the passion of your own creation as an artist, as a visionary, and that passion consume you because you respect your vision enough to give it the time and the work it deserves. To have a 9 of Cups over the star or the anointing of your path is very auspicious, particularly if you're planning a trip. For example, I'm going to be back in Israel, as you guys know, in May, doing more volunteer work for people. And for me, this would be a good omen that my trip is blessed. The star over the trip. What is above you, going back to the things you love, 6 of Cups, the people you love, as opposed to the people who you love that didn't love you or didn't respect you or didn't treat you right. 6 of Cups is to go back to a kind of soulmates, 4 of Wands, and potentially the building of something new. Coming out of 10 of Cups. You could be coming out of one marriage or one romantic situation and headed instead towards a love for service. You have here 6 of Pentacles, and that's interesting because that's also, I can relate to that too, just looking at the cards, because I have really gotten passionate about volunteering and trying to help and not having to judge other people. I believe this, right? But it's just like, how can I help in this moment right now? Like packing lunches. In Israel, they're doing at various different restaurants, they're packing lunches for IDF or babysitting the children that have been displaced, because 70,000 people have been displaced from the north. So little ways that we can help make life less, create less suffering for people and animals is kind of more the focus. 6 of Pentacles is a card that denotes a social worker. So again, it would denote that you're entering into a time where you are maintaining healthy boundaries, but also coming up with ways to help others when you see it. Never lose sight of your meditation and self-care practice, whatever it is. 4 of Swords is the ability to take time for yourself, slow down. It's also my card for samadhi or deep meditation. You must make serious decisions about the people in your life that are dragging you down. Your round table, we've talked about your round table. Who gets to sit there and give you advice? Who do you trust that's not going to cut you down and break you down and say, this is what I think is best for you? Now, sometimes your greatest critics are good at your round table. Like I have an older member of my family who has no problems telling me that she thinks I'm full of crap, right? So sometimes that can be negative. Sometimes it's too much. Come on, I'm not used to people talking to me like that. Only our family members get to talk, right? And that's not cool. Sometimes even those people have a place at our round table, because sometimes we need to just have somebody give us the unfiltered truth, right? And sometimes it's just abuse and destruction and bullying. So having the wisdom to determine who sits at your round table, who gets to have access to you, is something that you will truly have to think about in the coming days, because you are leaving some people and some situations for your own self-care. Five of Pentacles is a poverty card traditionally. It's somebody who's trying to avoid poverty, trying to find a way into the church. It's somebody who it's okay to establish boundaries for yourself and say, this isn't working for me. And that's new for me, by the way. That it's new for me to be able to say to people in my family, I don't really like the way you're talking to me. But, it takes real courage to step up to somebody who maybe has been your bully your whole life, or and sometimes the people who love us the most can sometimes also be our bullies, right? So it's that mixed relationship. It can be very, very complicated. Your final outcome is the Hierophant, which is look towards your ethics, your values, and your standards to determine what is best for you. Always look to your own ethics. Focus on your own vision. You do not have to fight every fight. You don't have to argue with everybody about everything. Be selective in what you put your energy into. You only have so much time on this earth to complete your work. Take it seriously or you will come back again. Do not let other people who are negative on you drag you down. Focus on building your spirituality and ethics and take your vision seriously. And if you do that, your wish will be granted. Some of you are going on some really important trips in the next couple months, by the way. And that is your reading. I like volunteering with dogs. It's like, come on now, hang out with the doggies. Doggies are fun. Yeah, Kate's privacy. Yeah, I think people's medical records, I think, are a big no-no. The only, when I ask permission from spirit to access the Akashic records. So when I sit and then I try to be Kate, and and then I throwed a couple cards and I got 7 of Wands. I want to be left alone, clearly. I feel very defensive, but also I want a divorce, which shocked me because people were making it out like William was having this affair with this person. Rose, it's not my business. Again, it's always by permission. I'm not going to get into the middle of that. I just felt my emotions as Kate. Man, I'm sick. I'm exhausted. I'm tired of being attacked all the time. I'm tired of having to be perfect. Also, I can have a respectful separation from William. We can be respectful adults and co-parent our kids without it being a public whatever. And if we are in the middle of a divorce, and if I am sick, it's better and if we are in the middle of a co-parenting thing, then do we really need to be showing up at Easter? So nobody went to Easter, but I don't see them together as a couple. This is looking more like some kind of semi-separation between the two of them. All right. Yeah, thank you, George. So everything in the collective, we are a collective, and we all co-create this energy. And as George says, sometimes you have to divorce your own family and friends, sadly. So that's kind of been the energy coming up a lot in the readings is I've got a limited amount of time before I die. We all must face our own mortality. And I can either take my purpose in life seriously or throw in the towel and just waste my life watching YouTube videos. Or if you're going to watch YouTube videos, at least watch things that are going to be helping you develop your vision. But the takeaway from spirit is you will not pass this way again. You will not be this person again. And you will only have a limited amount of time in order to fulfill this function for yourself. This purpose that you've come here to fulfill. So you have to go deep in yourself, Four of Swords, deep into meditation and say, when I see myself happy, when I see myself healthy, when I see myself living my dream, Spirit, show me what that looks like. And then you must take it upon yourself to construct that vision and give it back to the world. That is a very different calling than this idea that we're going to be in the middle of Armageddon. And it's much more in keeping with Jewish thought, which is what I was raised with. This idea of tikkun olam, which is the fixing of the world, and that it's like a beautiful tapestry, this world, and we're co-creating this historical quilt that is the fabric of the human story, and each of us gets to sew a part of it. What part will you leave behind? Your legacy is as important as anyone else's. You're going to be able to be part of this heritage quilt. What will you contribute? Yeah, you must follow your bliss. So my bliss is being an herbalist. I've always loved the cards, and my patients love the cards. And so if they're a good patient and we get through all of their treatment plan within 45 minutes, usually I can throw a couple cards for them. You know, we have to be authentic with our vision of, we have to come to the table as we are and not try to make ourselves something that we are not. And I've always wanted to be an herbalist and a witchy lady more than a conventional doctor. And kudos to those naturopathic doctors that have their I used to have a DEA license. I haven't renewed it. And they're living as doctors and they're doing all that fun stuff. But I'd really rather be a crazy witch at the end of the village, grinding seeds. And gotta find your bliss. All right, when we get the order, we will blitz, blitz, blitz away. Feel free to ask me anything you like. We've got the amazing Joel Tilson here. He's going to be helping to arrange the questions so that I can see them. Joanna Carson also giving a shout out to everybody. A happy Palm Sunday. As you know, next week, I believe, is Easter. So hopefully everybody will do something special for their Easter. Looks like weather has gone a little crazy. You know, April is when you will often get that second last snowstorm, is right at the end of March, April. You know, you plant and then everything freezes. It's so gosh darn frustrating when you get that April freeze. But it seems to happen every year in Portland. And, you know, I've got all these beautiful lettuces coming in. And so I already know not to get my hopes up too high, because every year I have to replant. That's very true. Okay, Joel. Cuba is collapsed with food and fuel shortages. Revolution has started. Oh, boy, 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 boy. Let's take a look at Cuba. Storms in Minnesota also. Knight of Swords is the storm card. And that's why it was not looking good on the East Coast. And I had some of my patients were calling me, and I was giving readings, and it was like I was getting these horrible storms, like in Ohio and Indiana or wherever you guys got hit. It was like, oh no. Yeah, so it's not over yet, unfortunately. Cuba. Wow, my sister's on her way to Cuba. Yeesh. Hope she's going to be okay. Okay, the situation in Cuba right now and the economic collapse of Cuba could be because Cuba was receiving aid from countries that are currently having economic problems. So from what they're telling me, it had to do with the fact that the East was having economic problems. And if Cuba is dependent on them for aid, food resources, etc., if Russia cannot afford whatever this relationship they have with Russia, China, South America, etc., they're strained because those countries are strained. You can see poverty here Joel. Five of Pentacles, standing at the base of the issue with Cuba, locked out of the church in poverty, trying to find a way in and leaving everything behind. You can see that powerful Eight of Cups is the base of the matter. They're leaving everything behind and facing poverty. We're talking about major internal developments happening in Cuba. Could be that after the fall of Castro, it was hard to maintain any kind of civil unity. Where we are at right now, the star is over Cuba. So even though everything is kind of falling apart in Cuba, there's also this amazing star there, which would indicate good blessings, or that this is ultimately something that's going to be positive or good for Cuba. What is above them? There's a man coming, the King of Cups, who is the mediator, trying to bring people together. Six of Cups, returning people back. Could be some leader there. The past placement of Two of Cups. He's trying to create new alliances and new relationships. So this is new leadership in Cuba, new cooperation with the King of Cups, and then the Hanged Man, giving up old alliances. I think that they could be moving towards the West. We could see them moving towards a more open relationship with the West, because it's no longer financially feasible for them to maintain these types of close relationships with the East. We can see the seventh house, serious decisions being made. Four of Swords. The other that they're having issue with, King, is some type of a president or leader. They're having a problem with some type of leadership. The hopes and fears that things will be better for Cuba, smoother waters, and the final outcome, a new beginning awaits Cuba. It's going to be rocky. You know, Five of Pentacles, like I said, is a poverty card. So they are going to have some rough times, but ultimately it's for the best. You know, they get their wish. Their vision is good. Things, new beginning for their relationship with the United States starting around August of 2024. You can see here, April, new beginning, and then August. Economic changes and relationships changing, but ultimately good long term for the relationship between the West and Cuba. So it's positive. They cannot rely on trade with countries that no longer economically can take care of themselves. And that's what happened. Ice Crystal Palace in New Hampshire. Oh, wow. Sounds beautiful, Ann Dillon. I heard that in Russia, they put like a goldfish or a guppy in a glass that's made of ice and vodka. Have you guys ever seen that? There's a little fish in the vodka, and the vodka is ice. The vodka glass is ice, and then you drink it all together. Whoop. I don't drink alcohol, and so a live fish that's flopping around in alcohol would probably not make it more attractive to me. But evidently, people. So what do? They catch it, they put it in the thing and give it to you, and it's flopping around and you swallow it? That's disgusting. I think I'm like destroying the fantasy for people. All right. Who here would drink a guppy or a goldfish or whatever that fish is that they plop inside the vodka in the who would do it in the Crystal Palace? I wouldn't. We know Whimsy can't drink because I get sick if I drink alcohol, but so I have an excuse. I wouldn't be able to do it. Isn't that White Nights in Russia? It sounds beautiful, though. Doesn't it sound beautiful? It sounds beautiful, like a white palace, and it's all ice. But I just couldn't do that drink that they do. Vodka by itself, well, I couldn't even do that. Okay. Crimea's Russian military. Let's take a look. What is this? Okay, we got to that. Crimea's Russian military headquarters was destroyed. That doesn't surprise me. The cards always come out that Russia is economically collapsed, and if he doesn't stop threatening people, NATO will march on Moscow. I told you guys that 4 or 5 years ago. And here we are. So, that's why I said let's get some mediation happening when he got kicked out of the World Summit. I mean, it was pretty obvious when you sat in his shoes where this was headed. And I really wish world leaders would learn HCRV, and then maybe we wouldn't have had to gotten to this point and had all these people die. That's kind of my feeling about it. Okay, Crimea. Crimea is going to be one giant prison for Russian soldiers if they don't leave. That's the message from NATO. It will be a giant prison. Economics are a disaster because they blew up every time they blow up a ship, there goes millions and billions. The amount literally, he blew up his entire military to get Ukraine. The amount of money that Russia has lost, I don't think 87% of his military. Remember I had said last year when I went in, you guys sent me in, was it a year, 13 months ago or something? You guys sent me in and I went in and I went, well, I've still got my Navy. Remember that? I've got a Navy. I can do some stuff. Then they blew up the Navy. So I know it's terrible. So look at their money situation. Peter DePaul, right? Incarceration. They're going to capture many, many Russian soldiers in Crimea if they don't leave. They're being surrounded. 9 of Wands. I mean, the 9 of Wands is a card that would denote that you're cornered. 2 of Pentacles would denote your finances aren't there. It's, you can read the cards. Look at this war. Remember, we've talked about the Knight of Swords, angry wind, bad weather. Angry wind chi in Chinese medicine can be when your lung gets attacked, right? Wind and metal are the 2 elements that are typified in the Knight of Swords. So metal is associated with the lungs and the large intestine with grief and wind in Chinese medicine. So it's war. It's the winds of war. So right over Russia. Remember, I really think we have to take the high school students seriously. You guys, take that remote seriously. Do you remember what that kid said? He had a bomb in his backpack. We talked to him. And I said, well, this is probably happening at the college level. And he started laughing at us because he thought college people were old and and compromised. It was too late for you if you'd made it to college. He said, what are you talking about? We're doing it in high school. 12, we're the resistance. Why? Why are you the resistance? Why are kids the resistance? Because it's kids they're sending to die. So you're rebelling. Why are you? We're rebelling because our own Supreme Court, this is what the guy said, our own superior courts have ordered us to our deaths. And if we don't stop this by June, I could be next. I have no choice but to fight in the resistance as a high school student. They're taking kids as young as 16 in poor villages. That was the remote. So I think we have to take it very, very seriously that these kids will only escalate the attacks as they get closer and closer to graduation in June, right? Do you feel that? Do you put yourself in their shoes? And their older brother is going. You feel the desperation? They are sacrificing their future, literally. They're sacrificing their kids. They're killing off the next generation. That is the insanity that the teenagers feel. Also, the teenagers are very, very active in getting information that is not sanctioned by Russia. Heavy war over them. There's complete confusion. They don't know what the truth is. Deep fakes, right? Bots. Look at this war, and nobody knows even who they're fighting. Complete moon. What is above them? The strength. There's incredible strength here and movement. So this revolution is strong. It's chaos. It's independent. This is a card of fertility. Yeah, fighting. More fighting. It's very intense fighting right now. Healing. It's also the child's card. 10 of Cups. 6 of Pentacles. Hopes and fears. Mercy. The final outcome over Russia. Russia's finished. 9 of Swords. You know, 9 of Swords. They are not winning, folks. How can you win when your own high school students have no choice but to declare war on you, on their own country to stay alive? If I were a 14 or 15-year-old girl whose older brother is 17 years old and he's going to be conscripted in June, I would join him in the resistance. And that is the decision they're making. It's either that or your brother's going to die. So that's what happened. More ways. The clarification over, clarification over Russia. Look at the scholars and the children. The opposition is taking the weapons of war away. This is Ukraine. You see, they've lost. Ukraine is their opposition. Hopes and fears, the King of Cups. They fear the King of Cups. Well, that's Biden's card. They fear the West. The final outcome, they're going to have to hang up this war because they have no army. They have no money. Their high school students are blowing things up with handmade drones. Does this help you get into Russia? Like get into the energy of what it is to be a Russian kid? That's being a professional empath. You really want to put yourself in the shoes. What does that feel like? I love my big brother. If I love my big brother and I know people are coming back in body bags, was I given a choice at this point not to become a freedom fighter at 14? They've created the situation. That's the point from the remote. That Russia has created a situation where their children literally are being ordered to their deaths, and so their children have no choice but to lead the civil unrest. I don't know how. I mean, like, I can't even begin to comprehend that. It's March, and I have to go report in June, and I could be dead 6 months after that. What would you do, right? All right, so the ISIS, as you guys know, is claiming responsibility for the attack that happened yesterday in Russia at the concert hall. So we're going to see if we can find out more, get some more Akashic records on that event. Thank you, Joel, as always. Okay. No, they feel very strongly that this is us. We told you to stay out. No, we told you to stay out of Afghanistan. We warned you that if you come into Afghanistan, that we know what you did the last time you came into Afghanistan, shooting people's kneecaps off, right? That's what they were known for. So We are getting a lot of money from the West in Afghanistan. We're getting a lot of money from Saudi Arabia to fight you, just like we did the last time as part of the Abraham. We're funded. We want you to get the right. You're not going to have access to trade out of Afghanistan like you want. Remember when we go into the remotes? It's the same damn thing with this guy. He wants us to. I can't listen to it anymore. And Kazakhstan, this is why he wanted the U.S. out of Syria, so that Hezbollah could move into Syria and Lebanon. This is why he pulled the U.S. out of Afghanistan, so that he could go and get his trade route back. Do we think that Saudi Arabia is going to sit back, that ISIS is going to let this happen again, just like it did the last time Russia went in? No, it's going to be another disaster. So you have the Ace of Pentacles. Seven of Pentacles is harvesting. This is a heavily funded war against Russia. They've got plenty of money. The Saudis and other groups that are funding ISIS to make life hell for Russia if they do not get out of Afghanistan. This is for sure. This is 100%. They've got all the money and time in the world to make life hell for Putin. Where it's standing right now, the main thing is they want to create chaos in the infrastructure. Chaos. We will create complete chaos in Moscow. It's going to happen. We will attack multiple sites and over the next couple of weeks. You can see the Chariot, Six of Wands. They're going into victory. You can read your own cards. They feel very strong. That's the fourth house. Six of Pentacles. They feel that this is their service, right? They want them out of Afghanistan. Get out of our country. Get out. Eight of Cups. Look, in 6 months, they think this is finished with Russia. Russia will not have expansion as long as ISIS is there. Absolutely not. They want you out. You have to get out. Seventh house, you have to get out. Gotta go. This is ISIS. Look how much money they got. It'll be impossible. They're going directly after Putin. Their opposition is Putin, the president. I don't think that all these attacks I think it does not bode well for the future of Russia, because he keeps wanting a ceasefire. This is Putin wanting a ceasefire. Final outcome, more attacks. You can see towers, the final outcome. So put yourself in Moscow. You've got students attacking with drones. You've got Ukraine attacking. You're being invaded in Belgrade. And now, according to this remote, ISIS says they're going to hit from multiple fronts, creating chaos. You can read your own cards. You guys want to talk about it? Is anybody surprised? I love when people say, I don't believe in HCRV because you made a mistake here, you made a mistake here. First off, of course I make mistakes. It's only, don't take this too seriously, but the level of shocking accuracy that you can sometimes get in HCRV, where you can actually go in and find someone's documents, find the War Cabinet finances, find out that Prigozhin is talking to MI6 and took 40 million and euro and slipped. That is an irrefutable level of detail that is beyond scientific explanation, in my opinion, other than the fact that HCRV works. I agree. You always look, any science, even something as imperfect as HCRV, we always advertise it as entertainment purposes only. It always has to be matched against other facts. but it is an important tool that can be included in whatever other system you're using. And for that reason, I'm very excited to teach it, and it's just really cool. Yeah, Joel, with that tower coming in as the final outcome, it's looking, you guys, like Russia could be having a complete collapse. I don't know if it may even happen faster than people are anticipating. Okay, as many of you know, Donald Trump has not been able to come up with the money. Is this a bond, or what do they call this exactly? But it's close to $500 million, and it looks like he does not have the money, and evidently his properties are not going to bail him out. Let's take a look. Thanks, Alice. Good question. Hi, Wendy Burt. Thank you for being here. Jiggy Pardo Lord. Hi. Hi, Karen W. Yolanda. Okay. 45. What's going to happen to him? Fun day today. You guys having a good time? Don't forget to like and subscribe. The more likes, the better. There's 521 people here. It would be great if I got 521 likes. And if you haven't subscribed, it would be awesome if you could. If you're enjoying any part of today's brunch, please think about donating to our charity. We are raising funds for AmericanForest.org. And for every dollar raised, one tree sapling will be planted in your honor. Okay. I just can't believe it's going to happen as Trump. I just believe I always get bailed out. They'll bail me out. I can delay. We can get a payment plan going. I just feel like for me, the rules should be different. You know, like I always feel a sense of denial with Donald Trump, like a 10 of cups. Like he lives in a world where great days lay ahead for me and my wife, this kind of delusion. But his opposition, things are moving very quickly. This is also what Fani Willis said. His crazy did not stop the process. And in fact, this case against him and his cronies is moving very, very quickly now. So we have this rapid movement in his opposition's foolish choices could get him in trouble, and taking the weapons away. Let's see if the clarification shows him coming up with the money. They're going to possibly incarcerate him and begin presenting ways to confiscate the money. They will go in and confiscate it. He's kind of delusional. The Queen of Cups lives in a fantasy world. They came in quickly and started picking through. You can see with the Seven of Pentacles, which is to harvest or take money or take a portion, and it's moving very quickly. They will go in and start seizing things with that type of a record. His hope and fear is that red tape and being contained. This is a red tape card. Final outcome is the evidence against him, taking the weapon away. They're going to start literally, they will seize his personal financial records based on what I was able to see. They're going to go in and say, oh, you can't pay it? Then the feds are going to go in. They're going to take over all of his stuff and say, well, we can take 200,000 from here. We can take $1 million from there. That's what's going to happen. If you're a lawyer and you can explain this phenomenon to me, please do. But it looked to me like they were going to literally walk in, take control over the books, take control over his assets, and begin picking through things so that they could get their money. Isn't that lovely? Yes. Rather dark, isn't it? So yes, they're going to get their money. They're about from heck or high water, as they say. Oh, you let cable TV go? Everyone's letting cable TV go. What's the point? I never watch it. All I want to do is watch my friends on YouTube. I live on YouTube. I like to watch the other readers. They're friends of mine, you know? I'd rather do that. Danny Bathrobe and Nines Tarot and Sheila and Linda and Revealing Light and David Johnson's good. I love Cash Peters. Kay Travel when she goes on is fun. I love hanging out with Chuck Dransfield, just because he's fun. That to me is more interesting than I just am not into that whole Hollywood thing anymore. I don't know. I just like to hang out with my friends. Okay, the Orange Clown said over the weekend he had 5 million in cash. I wonder where did he get the money? Russia, North Korea, China, Saudi Arabia. Let's see where he got the money. That's a good question. Oh, people are making egg designs. How beautiful. That's something they do in Ukraine, is beautiful egg paint art. Okay. Did he get 509 billion in cash? He's going to wipe out. He wants to wipe out the GOP. You know what? This is potentially devastating for the Republican Party because he could inherit the GOP, take complete control over the money, and only think about himself. And that is going to destroy down ballot races because there won't be any money for Republicans to get on to promote down ballot races. This could be catastrophic for the Republicans. Yeah, that's what it's looking like, particularly in vulnerable districts. So if that's what their strategy is, then he's going to have to get somebody in there that knows how to make this happen because the money situation is not good. There is some possibility, Six of Pentacles, of some kind of benefactor coming in. Looks like it could be partly from the Middle East. He has obligations. He's bound economically to certain groups. Thief trying to get away with something. He's broke, Four of Pentacles. He's also mentally confused with that Moon card, where he's at right now, trying to make things happen. Stressed out. Hierophant. Positions of... He thinks, well, Sun coming in. Well, he's also got the courts coming in. He feels like he'll have a ton of money by this summer. So I think it's coming in from overseas, probably the Middle East. It's interesting, when I was gazing at this card, I saw what looked like pyramids in the background. Sometimes I'll just gaze and I'll have visions. And that's one of the called HCRV quick technique. It's when you stare at a picture and you just relax and you let yourself see things. And when I was staring at this, I saw the pyramids, and that led me to think, well, he's probably getting it from the Middle East. So I think we're going to close. We've been here for about an hour, 10 minutes. Hopefully we got to everything. I think we covered Princess Catherine. According to the readings we did on Thursday's Hot Topic, she was getting stronger. She had an Ace of Wands, which is a good sign. So she will hopefully be okay. Even though her marriage might not survive, hopefully her health cards looked like she was going to be okay. She didn't look like someone who had abdominal surgery. Well, a lot of stuff happens in the abdomen, in the abdominal area, abdomen. A hysterectomy would be abdominal surgery. If you've got endometriosis, we might recommend a hysterectomy. 42, when you're perimenopause, you might have longer menstrual cycles, irregular menstrual cycles. If the person also has endometriosis, they may choose to have a hysterectomy. Then if the uterus is biopsied and they detect cancer, that would be, and we don't know if the cancer has gone beyond the uterus, they might do a round of some type of preventative. There's an example. I'm not saying that's what happened, but there's an example of somebody who's had a routine abdominal hysterectomy for endometriosis, who's having heavy periods, perimenopausal. Then they biopsy the uterus, find cancer cells. Maybe they think they've got it all, and so preventatively, if the problem with the uterus is it's very vascular, and so the concern is that if you have cancer in the uterus, it can spread very rapidly from the uterus to the bloodstream. And so for that reason, in a case of, say, a woman with endometriosis, heavy periods, perimenopausal, if they were to detect something like that, they would be concerned, and they might. I'm not saying that's what's happening. Don't misunderstand me. I'm saying that would be an example of an abdominal surgery like that. Another would be if she had abdominal resectioning and blockages, and there was no blood when fecal tissue did not show blood, so they thought it can't be cancer. So they went in and they did a resection, and then maybe they biopsied and found that one of them was in fact cancer. That would be another example, and that's because these types of tests don't catch every case of cancer. And every colonoscopy does not catch every cancer. If a cancer is in the ileocecal valve area, sometimes it's not, if it's beyond the sigmoid colon, it might not be detected. So there's another example of where somebody goes in, they think it's something minor, and then they do a biopsy and find out that it was cancer. They're concerned it's spread, so they do a preventative course. I think it was really her, but I think that it's fake. No, she probably shot it at home, and then she gave the raw footage, and then they put a nice background and a bench and made it pretty. If you just look at the cards, she's going to be okay, whatever's going on. And we don't want to know her private. That's not appropriate. We can talk generally about health as doctors, as people who are interested in health, about these are some of the things that can happen, but we don't want to get into people's private medical records. That's not appropriate. All right, I had so much fun today. And again, thank you so much, those of you who donated and helped plant trees as part of our drive. Remember, be kind to all so that all can be kind to you too. And we'll see you next week. Have a very happy Purim and a blessed Palm Sunday if you celebrate them. Love and light, God bless, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.